Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we will discuss attitudes and organizational behavior, role of the personal attitude in job satisfaction, employee satisfaction, and its outcome. The learning outcome of this lecture would be students will be able to develop a clear understanding of some complex concepts like attitudes and its impact on job satisfaction. And then they will be able to evaluate their own attitude with reference to the job they are in a particular cultural setting and how they are satisfied with their job. So they will be able to evaluate in the light of this particular outcome. So let's look at what is the attitude. When we look at the attitude is a predisposition to respond in a positive or in a negative way to someone or something in one's environment. Now, this is very much clear to you. Attitude is a particularly your inner feelings or inner inclination towards doing something in a very positive or in a very negative manner. So, whatever the environment uh, you are in a particular setting, so that depends upon your attitudes as well. So how you react to that particular environment, how you uh, uh, feel about that particular environment and the things there are, so that's how you can define the attitude. When you say I like or dislike someone or something, this explains what kind of feeling, what kind of the things you are attached with expressing your likeliness or dislikeliness. So an attitude is being expressed in either you can see in a negative way or in a positive way, either in a favorable or unfavorable manner, concerning objects, people, and events. Therefore, attitudes are evaluative statements. So you can see, you can evaluate attitudes with reference to your feelings with the something or someone or the events or the situations in which you are exposed to. So the people who are in a particular environment and you are working with that environment, so you can explain how your attitude is there with specific reference to the people in a particular environment. So they reflect how one feel about something. So that's how you can reflect about your own attitude and the attitude of the people in the environment. One important work related attitude is job satisfaction. So let's look at the uh, one of the things which in a working environment with specific reference to your job is how you feel about your job. Are you satisfied with the job or not? So if you are satisfied with the job, that means that you have a positive attitude towards your job. You are satisfied. But if you are not satisfied with your job, that means that there is a negative attitude towards the job. So this is not something like you just simply like or dislike, or you simply satisfied with or dissatisfied with the job. There are many factors which affecting this attitude, which affecting your likeliness and or dislikeliness, or your satisfaction and dissatisfaction. So that depends upon a number of factors. Three primary components of attitude. When we look at the attitude, we can understand this particular feeling, like something, dislike something, favoring something, disfavoring something, satisfied with something, or dissatisfied with something or some person, or a particular situation. So that can be explained in the light of three basic components of the attitude. When we explain attitude at these three levels, so that the things will be more clear to you. For example, when we say cognitive component of the attitude, that basically when we say cognitive, that focusing on basically beliefs, values, representing information and observation regarding the object or a person. So cognitive component of the attitude deals with beliefs and values representing information and observation regarding the object or a person. This component deals with this sort of situation. When you are talking about something that is part and parcel of your values, part and parcel of your belief system, and when you come across with the information and you come across with the situations, the observations regarding a particular person, regarding a particular object or thing like that, so this is this sort of feeling which relates to beliefs and values. And regarding beliefs and values, whatever the information and observation that you come across, so this component deals with is a, cognitive component of the attitude. Whereas when you uh, feel like that, for example, a specific feeling regarding the personal impact of the antecedent condition, when in simple words, when you look at your emotional or feeling segment of the attitude, so that is called an affective component of the attitude. Similarly, the third component of the attitude is the behavioral component. Because when you come across with a cognitive component and an affective component, and ultimately the last component is a behavioral component. So, an intention to behave in a certain way in response to the feelings, in response to your values, in response to your belief. So this comes at a later stage. For initially, you come across with the cognitive component of the attitude, and then you go through with an affective component of the attitude, and finally you come across with a behavioral component of the attitude. Now, this behavioral component of the attitude is basically uh, is the result of the attitude, result of whatever you like or dislike. So that because of that, it is a disposition to act in a specific way. So this is at action level. Now this attitude uh, transforms into action. That's why it is called a behavioral component of the attitude. So when you look at the meaning and understanding of the concept of the attitude in with regard to organizational behavior, because we are looking at how organizational behavior deals with a number of things in the organization at personal level, at group level, at an institutional level. So you can understand how this environment of the organization, whatsoever the organization you are working in. So when you look at your own situation and reflect on the environmental impact environmental impact on your attitude at different levels, at cognitive level, at affective level, and a behavioral level. So you can understand how this environmental impact, plays a vital role in defining your own attitude in terms of something negatively and something positively in the organization. And because of that situation, how your behavioral component of the attitude is seen in the organization, is observed in the organization. So in this way you can understand your own situations in the organization, and you can evaluate your own behavior, you can evaluate how you behave in the organization. So you can understand the organizational behavior in the light of your own behavior, in the light of how you develop your own attitude at a cognitive level, attitude at affective level, and at behavioral level. So this is how you can understand attitude in a very environmental setting, in a very conducive or non-conducive environmental setting, and how that environment affects on your own attitude and the attitude of the people uh, who are working with you in the organization. So attitudes and organizational behavior, when we look at this particular slide, so you can understand one may have thousands of the attitudes, but organizational behavior focus on job related attitudes. So this is very much clear. Organizational behavior is dealing with your job related attitudes. Organizational behavior is to do nothing with other sort of attitudes that a person is carrying with his, because you are there in the organization because of your job. You are part and parcel of that organization because you have given a particular task to perform in line with the organizational goals. So that's why organizational behavior is focusing on job related attitudes. So therefore, your attitude is measured in the light of your job related attitudes. So job related attitudes include job satisfaction, how satisfied you are in your job, with your job. What are the things that enhance your job satisfaction? What are the factors which affect your job satisfaction? So this is how you can understand the job satisfaction in the light of your roles and responsibilities. Job involvement means personal personal identities with the job, and participation, how seriously you are involved with your job, what sort of participation you have with your job, how you take that responsibility in a very serious manner. So how lightly you take your roles and responsibilities in your job. So your job involvement depends upon your own identity, as your personal identities, that how you as a person attach with your job. So organizational commitment is the third important component with that is job related attitude that is important to discuss. So organizational commitment at is yet another important factor. So that is related to your job related attitude, because if the organizational commitment is there and your job involvement is there, and you are satisfied with your job, this means that organization has created an environment where the organization is fulfilling all those basic requirements for the employees, which help them to get involved with their job, to participate in all those kind of activities which are supposed to perform by those people. So in this way, this organizational commitment is evaluated. Is this organizational commitment is defined. So how and in to what extent this organization is committed to its goals and its vision. So that's how you can look at this organizational commitment. And secondly, job satisfaction has received more attention because of this particular concept of job related attitude. So job satisfaction has received more attention because of this particular dimension of the individual attitude that is related with the job satisfaction. So, so, so when you look at this one, your job satisfaction and your own attitude in the organization. So because of this, uh, human resource managers in the organizations have great concern about who are the people who are performing their job at highest level. What are the things they keep them committed with the organizational goals and objectives? What are the things they push them to be involved with their job and participate with the zeal and zest? So how satisfied those people are. And on the other hand, the people who are not satisfied with their job, they are not involved in their activities, and the organizational commitment is lacking over there. So what else could be, you know, there that can help these non-satisfied people in their job to bring them at the other side of the situation. As earlier we talked about someone who is very satisfied, who is very much involved in the activities of the organization, and the organizational commitment is there in the organization. So how can you do that? So that's how this organization and behavior, we can look at the organizational behavior in the light of these particular concepts. So therefore, this job satisfaction has received much attention. When you look at job satisfaction more detail, for example, it is the individual general attitude towards his her job. When you look at the job satisfaction in the light of this particular point, so you can understand it is an individual general attitude towards the job. For example, organizational commitment is there. Organization is providing all necessary things to the individual, but still a person's general attitude towards job is something different. That person does not look at the organizational commitment. That person is not so much serious about the roles and responsibilities. The person is not that much, involved in the matters of the roles and responsibilities of his or her job. So that's how you can look at the individual general attitude. Because some people are, according to different theories, as earlier we talked about, some people are very much, dealing with believing in X theory, and some people are in believing in Y theory. So you earlier discussed it, how the managers dealing with the people in the light of these different theories. So that's how you can come up with an understanding of this job satisfaction in the light of the individual's general attitude towards the job. Some people are very much committed. Some people are very not very much committed. So this is the general attitude. So that's why. So there is no very clear criteria to define why this job satisfaction is because of this factor. So this is because of the individual general attitude as well. The following work-related variables determine the job satisfaction. When we look at how this work-related variables uh, can play a vital role in the job satisfaction of the employees. You can look at mentally challenging work. For example, if your organization is providing an environment where you feel that the task is mentally challenging task, the work that has assigned to you is mentally very challenging work. So equitable rewards, if your organization is serious about the equitable reward system, so that is very very important, that plays a vital role in motivating people towards performing their uh, tasks. So how equitable the system of rewards are there, so that also plays a vital role in job satisfaction. And at the same time, the supportive working conditions and supportive colleagues. If your organization is committed to provide a supportive working conditions, if you do not feel any sort of obstacle on way to performing your duties, performing your roles and responsibilities, so the organization is there to support you in achieving the objectives, in achieving the targets in your job. So the organization is committed to provide you all kind of support. So that is related to your roles and responsibilities in your job. So that plays a vital role. At the same time, if your colleagues are good enough to provide you uh, support, and there is an environment of you see an organizational citizenship behavior, so that everyone is very much focused with not only his or her own uh, mm, role to perform effectively in line with the organizational goals and aims and objectives, but also the individuals are very much serious about the performance of their colleagues, the performance of the people who are there in the organization. So they are serious about not only in improving their own performance, but also they are serious to improve the performance of their colleagues. So that also matters a lot in in enhancing job satisfaction of the employees. So these are very important ingredients, you can say factors, which affect the job satisfaction. At the same time, if you have opportunity to use skills, and whatever the skills you have, if you have have an opportunity to use the skills you have, so that also encourages individuals to satisfy from their job, and the varieties of the tasks, freedom and feedback. So if your organization provides you an environment where you are given the tasks which are not only a single task but variety of tasks which have the test for you to use your own skills, your knowledge and your expertise, so that sort of freedom, that sort of provision of engaging with the diverse range of tasks in the organization enables you to not only polish your skills but also develop new skills, new knowledge as well. And at the same time, if someone is there to give you a feedback, a very constructive feedback, so that helps you to improve yourself, and wherever you feel some sort of a challenging situation, wherever you feel some sort of help from your senior. So if your organization has an environment where a constructive feedback is given to you at senior level, so that that pushes you towards, performing at highest level. So that also enhances the job satisfaction. On the other side, if there is no any such type of opportunity for individuals to use their skills and involve with a variety of tasks, there is no freedom and there is no concept of feedback. This all together, you know plays a negative role in, job satisfaction. So those people become dissatisfied from the job. Pay system, promotion policies in line with employees expectation, perceived fairness in decision making. So all these factors also play a vital role. For example, the pay system. If your organization has a very fair pay system based on your expertise, your skills, your qualifications, your exposure, and your performance, and based on all these kind of things, if your institution has a fair pay system, so they highly, you know motivates the employees. At the same time, if you have very fair promotion policies in line with the organization, the employees expectation, that's very obvious. Every employee has a particular expectation from the organization in which the person is working, because you are there to improve yourself with the passage of time, to perform your duties in line with organizational vision and mission, and you are looking at higher level because of this, that's hierarchy of the jobs. So you have some expectations to be at a senior level after some years of your experience. So these expectations every employee has, naturally. And if you have some promotion policies which are very much fair and in line with the employees expectation, and the employees uh, uh, job satisfaction and the highest level, because of their highest level of performance, and they are expecting to be promoted into the next grade levels. So if these things are there in the organizational structure, in the organizational system, so they play vital role in improving job satisfaction. Perceived fairness in decision making. When you as an employee, you perceive the fairness in decision making. Whatever the decisions are taken at organizational level, in line with the organizational vision. So if those you think, you perceive are uh, fair enough, so this means that you are a satisfied worker. So job satisfaction, in very simple words, you can look at your job not only from your own expectations of this satisfaction, but you also look at the job uh, at uh, organizational uh, culture, organizational environment, the fairness in decision making, and the opportunities that organization is providing to an individual, and in line with the skills, in line with the knowledge and the expertise of an employee, and if that is providing a sort of freedom to the employees to get engaged with a variety of tasks in line with their own roles and responsibilities, and they have a fair system of providing feedback to individuals, and there is a collegial working environment in the organization, when the organization has an equitable reward system. So all these kind of variables, all these kind of factors highly affect the performance of an individual, and they they play a vital role in the satisfaction of one's job in the organization. So organizational behavior deals with all these sort of things, not only one particular aspect, that individuals have their own mindset, their own particular attitude towards their job. So that is one aspect. But this organizational culture, organizational environment, the support mechanism, the decision making system, and all these kind of the things uh, play a significant role in the job satisfaction. So when you look at this particular slide, employee satisfaction and productivity has a very close link. When the employee is satisfied, you can say a happy worker is a productive worker. Productivity is more likely to lead to satisfaction, feel good about the job. So this is natural, because when you are happy, you have no worries with your work. So your focus would be on your performance in line with the organizational vision goals, and you will become a very productive worker. If you are not happy worker, so your productivity automatically will reduce. So that's why productivity of the worker is highly linked with how the worker is feeling about his job. So that's you can understand from this point. As earlier we discussed thoroughly, this satisfaction and organizational citizenship behavior (OCB). So OCB is one of the most important behavioral domain in the organization. If employees have this particular behavior, organizational citizenship behavior, so this means that the managers know very well. They know the theories of the organizational behavior. They understand how to create a conducive learning environment in the organization. They know how to help the employees to become satisfied with their job. So they know how to help those people in line with the organizational vision and mission. So how to enhance the synergy in the organization, how to create a collegial working environment in the organization. So that's very important. If you have a very collegial working environment in the organization, then it is possible that one colleague will not only focus on his or her own performance in the organization, but that will also become very much serious about the performance of the other colleague in the organization. In this way, this OCB develops. Organizational citizenship behavior is to do with not only simply your own performance, but also it deals with the performance of your colleagues, the people in the organization. So if every individual in the organization becomes very much serious about the performance of all people in the organization. When we talked about a couple of days before, so this how we enhance the synergy in the organization, how this synergy plays a vital role in the organizational behavior. So if the managers are smart enough and they understand these particular terminologies in the life of organization, and they can better help individuals, groups, and organization to enhance this organizational citizenship behavior. So because of this organizational citizenship behavior, the employees becomes very much satisfied. They become very much positive about their tasks, and and they become very much sensitive to enhance the performance of everyone in the organization. So the seniors become professors in the organization, where they give feedback to the juniors, where they take classes of the juniors in order to enhance their knowledge, to develop their skills, and develop their disposition to uh, improve the performance in their particular tasks. So that's how you can understand how this organizational citizenship behavior comes with uh, in the organization in the light of this satisfaction. So there is a very close link between satisfaction and organizational citizenship behavior. So this slide, when you look at this slide as well, so satisfaction and organizational behavior, uh, early on, organizational citizenship behavior was assumed to be closely linked to the satisfaction only. But now, recent evidence shows that satisfaction influences organizational behavior through outcomes, treatment, and procedures. So, this is how you can understand OCB and satisfaction in a different manner as well. So, evidence, evidence of the job satisfaction comes with the outcomes. What kind of the outcome this organization has, how the organization is treating individuals. So what are the procedures which enable or a kind of creating hindrances for the employees to give their outcomes at a particular standard level. So everything has a very very direct relationship with satisfaction. If your organization is simply focusing on outcomes, and they do not look at the procedures and the treatment that the organization is dealing with, so this is not enough to get the outcomes at a particular certain acceptable level, but dealing in a not fairly manner. So because outcomes links with treatment, if you in the organization as an organizational manager, you deal with employees in a very fairly manner, so you directly or indirectly play a vital role in enhancing or reducing their outcome. Similarly, if your organization has some procedures for fair procedures for everyone, so that also helps a lot to enhance the outcome of the workers, and the outcome of the group of people, and the outcome of the organization at large. So these factors play a significant role. So this is how till this particular point, so how an individual, how an employee in an organization becomes satisfied with this with his job, and what are the factors which directly or indirectly influence this job satisfaction. So we discussed in a very in a detailed manner. So this is how we can understand how satisfaction comes, how in an organization, what kind of factors affect job satisfaction, what kind of the role the organizational managers need to play in order to enhance job satisfaction of the employees in the organization. So how can we create an environment that enhances the performance of the individual. So this is this is all together, you can see in the light of your own organizations, the job you are performing. So you can link with your own role, your own responsibility, and the tasks you are performing, the skills you have, and the opportunities in the organization you are getting to get involved with the variety of tasks in line with your roles and responsibilities, and how this organization is providing you that sort of environment, how this organization enables you to play very fairly in the organization, and provides you a kind of constructive feedback when you need for improvement. So there are many factors which affect your performance, and that because of those factors, either you become satisfied with the job or dissatisfied with the job. So this is how we can understand the job satisfaction in the light of uh, uh, your performance. Here we will look at some of the other concepts. For example, cognitive consistency, dissonance, which we call dissonance. Cognitive consistency is the consistency between person's attitude and his her actual behavior. So that is a technical term. For example, because organizational behavior deals with the behavior of individual that is related to the job, particular job. So the nature of the job. So organizational behavior does not deal with every sort of the behavior of the individual. Rather, it is dealing with the job related behavior. So whatever your actual behavior would be, if you create a consistency between your actual behavior and with that of you know uh, uh, personal person's attitude, your own attitude with that of your actual behavior, so that is called cognitive consistency. So this means that at understanding level, you have developed a particular sort of attitude, personal attitude, that is in line with the nature of the job, and as a result, you have developed a clear understanding of what actual behavior I should exhibit in the organization. So that's how you can understand. So this is the again the critical role of the managers. If a manager understands how to develop a cognitive consistency in individuals, so that depends upon how that person is competent enough to deal with this sort of situation. And when you look at this, cognitive dissonance is a state of inconsistency between an individual's attitude and behavior. If there is a inconsistency between whatever your attitude is and how you behave, so that is dissonance. That's inconsistency. As technically, you can see there is a mismatch. Whatever you feel, you believe, uh, is something different, but whatever you behave, that is something different. So there is a mismatch. So if this sort of situation is there, so that is called cognitive dissonance. For example, when you look at further elaboration of this term, so cognitive, how this cognitive dissonance um, uh, is affecting your job performance. So you can see the discomfort experienced by someone, experiencing such inconsistency result in a desire to reduce or eliminate it. This can be achieved by changing attitude, changing future behavior, or developing a new ways to explaining the inconsistency. So you can see how this cognitive dissonance, uh, uh, you know, in one's attitude affects the whole situation is because of, if you experience something with specific reference to your job, so that is not in line with the uh, organizational goals. And so this is the manager how to reduce this sort of behavior of the individual, how to eliminate this, and how to mold that individual in line with, the desirable level of the behavior, uh, and how to develop new ways of explaining this inconsistency. So so if you will be there to help that individual to explain why this inconsistency is there, why there is a mismatch between what actually that person is feeling and what the the person is performing. So this is the manager how this cognitive dissonance to control over. So reducing dissonance, degree of influence over the elements will impact how we react to dissonance. And the rewards influence the degree that we are motivated to reduce dissonance. Yes, there are not only rewards, but there are many things which reduce this inconsistency in one's actual behavior and the personal, attitude. So if you have a particular attitude, and for one or the other reasons your behavior is something different, so this to reduce, this manager needs to explore why this is there. In case of some employees, what kind of the factors which can address this sort of mismatch. So that's one of the things is the rewards. So how rewards help individuals to overcome, this dissonance, this gap. So that's very very important to understand. So the degree to which these elements, impact on individuals to, react with this dissonance. So that's very important to explore. And again, this depends upon how these managers are exposed to these different scenarios, which are there in the organization, which directly impact on the job performance of the individuals. So in the next class, we will discuss this perception, and building on this perception, we will proceed. So till this time, I think we will just wind up this class in the light of job satisfaction, and how job satisfaction is, important for an individual as an employee in the organization, and how this job satisfaction comes uh, and how you can enhance the job satisfaction of the employees. What are the factors which are affecting the job satisfaction? What sort of the environment is required in the organization which enhances the job satisfaction? What kind of the inconsistency, that is the dissonance, cognitive dissonance, that is there in the organization, and because of, your actual attitude, your personal attitude, and your actual behavior. So this is how this gap is to be addressed in the organization, and what sort of the skills and knowledge and exposure a manager needs to have to overcome these sort of the things in order to develop an organizational citizen behavior that directly or indirectly enhances the job satisfaction of the employees in the organization. So that's all. Thank you so much.